There is an ancient legend, whispered through faded scriptures, through hand-drawn illustrations on old parchment, through the broken breaths of ascetics meditating motionless amidst the forests of India. That legend speaks of a being sleeping deeply within the human body, a serpent. Not a reptilian creature visible to the naked eye, but a current of energy in the form of a fiery snake, reverently called Kundalini. According to ancient scriptures of Hinduism and Vajrayana Buddhism, within each human being exists an invisible energy system, with centers known as chakras, the Sanskrit word meaning wheel. These are not wheels spinning in physical space, but in the depths of consciousness, in the subtle layers that shape our inner life. From the base of the spine to the crown of the head, the gateway of the soul. 7 major chakras are aligned along a vertical axis, like a pillar of light running through the human spiritual body. In ordinary states, these wheels function weakly or remain dormant altogether. But when one truly begins a journey of spiritual awakening, when willpower merges with meditation, when the spirit transcends material cravings, the Kundalini serpent begins to stir. It slithers up the spine, through each chakra, awakening the layers of consciousness that have long been sealed. And finally, if the journey remains uninterrupted, it brings the individual to enlightenment, a state where the ego dissolves into the cosmos, where life and death, form and formlessness cease to be separate. What is terrifying, however, is that not everyone is ready for the serpent to awaken. Because once it moves, all illusions that we once held as truth collapse. Beliefs, wounds, and darkness we buried deep in the subconscious are dragged into the light. And the path through the 7 chakras is not merely a glorious ascent, but a journey demanding extraordinary courage. That is why spiritual masters always remind, awakening Kundalini is not about acquiring power, but about transforming the self at its deepest levels, body, mind, and soul. Today, we embark on that journey together. A journey requiring no modern map, no machines or Western theories, but only one thing: a profound listening into oneself. Imagine your body as an ancient temple, and within that temple, there are 7 sanctuaries. Each sanctuary is a challenge, a doorway, an opportunity to evolve. Throughout the remainder of this video, I will guide you through each chakra, decode its symbolic meanings, explore its ancient origins, and unveil the role each energy center plays in the awakening of Kundalini. But this will not be a dry, bullet-pointed lesson. This is a story, a map, an epic long lost, now retold in the language of the soul. The first level in this ancient chakra system is called Muladhara, also known as the root chakra. It is located at the base of the spine, where the body connects with the earth. Muladhara is not only the seat of survival instincts, but also the foundation of the entire energy system. In ancient imagery, this is where the Kundalini serpent lies coiled, sleeping like a smoldering flame beneath the ground. Its 4-petaled lotus represents the 4 basic elements of life: earth, water, fire, and air. If this foundation is unstable, none of the chakras above can be fully activated. The ancients believed that those who have not conquered their core fears, fear of abandonment, fear of poverty, fear of annihilation, will leave the serpent forever asleep. So the journey does not begin in the heavens, but from the earth, from standing firmly on one's own feet, from daring to face humanity's oldest fear, the fear of not existing. Once the seeker passes the challenge of the root chakra, the energy begins to rise to the lower abdomen, where the 2nd chakra resides. This is called Svadhisthana, the sacred chakra. It relates to water, to emotions, to creativity and reproduction. Here, energy shifts from survival instinct to life experience. Svadhisthana teaches humanity about desire, attachment, and the relationship between the self and others. But it is also where many become trapped. Emotions, if not understood, can become chains. A soul that has not mastered this chakra will be easily swayed by pleasure, by emotional dependence. However, those who overcome this level discover an extraordinary power, the ability to create, to give birth to new worlds from within. The third chakra is called Manipura, located in the abdomen, likened to the sun of the body. It is the center of personal power, of will, of action, and self-determination. In ancient symbology, Manipura houses fire, the element of purification, transformation, and destruction. One who masters this chakra can govern themselves, no longer controlled by others. They become the master of their life, no longer a victim of circumstance. But it is precisely this power that can lead many astray, into control, inflated ego, and dominance. When Kundalini flows through Manipura, it illuminates the truth about the ego, who we truly are, and who we believe we are. Only when the fire here no longer burns others, but begins to illuminate the self, can the journey continue upward. The next level is Anahata, the heart chakra, where earth and sky meet. This is the center of love, compassion, forgiveness, and unconditional connection. The heart is the gateway between the three lower chakras, instinct, emotion, will, and the three upper chakras, intellect, intuition, and spirit. One who transcends the heart is someone who begins to love without discrimination. Love not for gain, not for reciprocation. But opening this door is not easy, for every heart holds wounds, and only when those wounds are healed can love flow freely, like a stream that does not ask its source. Kundalini passing through Anahata teaches the soul a vital lesson. Love is not possession, but permission. The journey then takes us to the fifth chakra, Vishuddha, the throat chakra. This is the center of expression, of voice, of truth and communication. At this level, one learns to speak their inner truth without fear of judgment. Ancient symbols depict this chakra as a 16-petaled lotus, representing the 16 fundamental sounds of Sanskrit, the root of sacred speech. Vishuddha is not only about how we communicate with others, but how we converse with ourselves. One who masters this chakra no longer lies to themselves, no longer distorts or suppresses emotions. They allow their inner voice to ring out like a pure bell in the darkness. But Vishuddha is also where many fears arise. Fear of rejection, fear of being wrong, fear of not being heard. Kundalini flows through this center like a pure breeze, clearing the clouds of false speech, leaving only the brilliance of sincerity, like moonlight on still water. Next is Ajna, the third eye chakra, located between the eyebrows. This is the center of intuition, of nonverbal wisdom, where one no longer depends on logic or emotion to understand the world, but perceives with a knowing that needs no thought. Ajna is symbolized by a two-petaled lotus, representing the union of yin and yang, intuition and reason. When Kundalini touches this level, the seeker begins to see the unseen, hear voices unspoken, comprehend truths no one has taught. They view the world through the lens of spirit. But danger arises here if one is not steady. For Ajna opens the gate to visions, to supernatural insight, to powers beyond the ordinary. If the ego still reigns, it will claim these gifts for personal gain. Therefore, only when the mind is as clear as an autumn lake and the third eye reflect truth, not illusion. Finally, Kundalini ascends to the highest peak, Sahasrara, the crown chakra. This is where the soul merges with the cosmos, where the ego dissolves into the boundless ocean of existence. Sahasrara is no longer a point within the physical body, but a gateway to the space beyond time. In ancient symbols, it is the 1,000-petaled lotus, each petal a facet of universal truth. One who awakens here no longer asks what the universe is, for they have become one with it. No longer questions the divine, for they live within it. No longer speaks of enlightenment, for they embody it. When Kundalini merges into Sahasrara, it is no longer a separate serpent, but the invisible flame of union. But the journey does not end here. For a truly awakened person is not one who leaves the world behind, but one who returns with open eyes, a full heart, and hands ready to act. They pour the light of Sahasrara down through every chakra, making the entire system vibrant, harmonious, and whole. They are no longer guided by fear or desire, but by a profound understanding that everything is part of the same life. You might be wondering, are these things truly real? Does the Kundalini serpent truly exist, or is it merely a symbolic image? The answer is not in words, but in experience. In the subtle listening within the body, in the moments of quiet meditation, in the tingling current along the spine, when the mind grows still and the soul begins to speak. Kundalini is not something to believe in or not believe. It is something to live with. So instead of asking, is Kundalini real? Ask this: if it is real, am I ready to awaken it? Am I ready to shed the outer skin of ego, to touch the eternal life within? Am I willing to pass through each chakra, face every shadow, and step into the purest light? The journey has been drawn, the gate has opened, and the serpent is stirring, shifting gently, as if it, too, is waiting for you. Because perhaps you are not the first to begin this path. But maybe, just maybe, you are the one destined to continue it. A living piece of the ancient flow of knowledge, where humanity does not merely live, but awakens.